This is All India Radio. The Salarjung Museum is one of the 3 national museums of India. It is semicircular in shape with 38 galleries and is also one of the largest museums in the world. As one of the museums of national importance in India, the Salarjung Museum is meant to function as a cultural center through its exhibits, research projects, and planned activities. In the national program of talks tonight, we bring you a discussion entitled The Salarjung Museum, the Treasure Trove of Our Heritage. The participants are Dr. J. Kedareshwari, Curator, Salarjung Museum, Hyderabad, Srimati Arunita Rakshit, Senior Journalist, and Shri S.M. Hussaini, AIR Hyderabad, who initiates and moderates the discussion.
Hello listeners. Endymion is a poem by John Keats. It begins with the line, "A thing of beauty is a joy forever." In the national program of talks, we shall be discussing not only one thing of beauty, but about a huge collection of the things of beauty, with over 1 million collections of paintings, sculptures, carvings, manuscripts, and artifacts. Salarjung Museum is the 3rd largest museum in India and is the biggest one-man collection of antiques in the world. It is very popular in India because of the collections of different civilizations dating back to the 1st century. The collections at the museum are varied, ranging from Greek to Buddhist. Listeners, Salarjung Museum has enthralled millions of people since it was opened to the public in 1951. Through an Act of Parliament in 1961, the Salarjung Museum was declared as an institution of national importance. In tonight's discussion, we shall be exploring Salarjung Museum as the treasure trove of our heritage. To participate and discuss, we have with us Dr. J. Kedareshwari, who is the curator of Salarjung Museum, Education, Publication and Public Relations, and Mrs. Arunita Rakshit, who deals with the historical, cultural and heritage issues. Welcome you all. To begin with, Dr. J. Kedareshwari, please elucidate the brief history of Salarjung Museum and also highlight some very special artifacts that are on display in the museum.
A very good evening. Before we begin with the collection of the Salarjung Museum, we should know about this great national heritage of our country. Salarjung Museum, named after the collectors, the Salarjung family, was opened in 1951, 16 December, in the residential palace of the Salarjungs. Later on, it was shifted to the present location on the banks of river Musi, and from a single building, now we have expanded into 3 blocks: the Indian block, the Western block, and the Eastern block. As you would understand from the way I have titled the blocks, the collection of the museum is a worldwide collection. It is one of the rare museums of India where the family has collected objects from nearly 56 to 60 countries in different media. So a visit to the Salarjung Museum, Hyderabad, means you have visited many countries of the world.
Truly a very remarkable collection by one single person.
It's by a single family. Yes. And these family served as a prime ministers to the Asafjah dynasty who ruled the Hyderabad dominions.
Apart from this, Mrs. Arunita Rakshit, Salarjung Museum has many things comprising sculptures, artifacts, carvings, furnitures, so on and so forth. In your opinion, can Salarjung Museum act as a great unifying factor because it truly and totally reflects unity in diversity?
Yes, good evening listeners. Yes, actually you were right. Salarjung Museum, it's as Madam already said, that we can we can see different countries, that 30-40 countries artifacts are there. You can't see there any repetition of the items. All are unique, and each and every articles, whatever is there, even the painting or even the sculpture also, there the uniqueness is there. So you can say that whole world we can see just under one roof, one umbrella. So it's a totally like diversity in full form. Even in our Indian culture, Indian artistic side also. So many different, even Raja Ravi Verma's painting are also there. Even Rabindranath Tagore's painting are also there. So those paintings, after seeing those, after visiting that museum, we can find out the difference between the artistic side as well as that different cultures. I mean, what time, that copper era, bronze era, how that Chola's artifacts are there. So different. So it's truly diversified.
Salarjung Museum has acted as a catalyst, if I say so, in promoting tourism. Millions of tourists have visited Salarjung Museum over the last few decades. What do you think the main attraction, the main thing that revolves around Salarjung Museum which attracts so many tourists?
You see, if you see the history of this museum, it has always been a very popular museum in the south of India. It's one of the largest collection also. We not only have artifacts pertaining to different media and different art schools, but we also have a very rich collection of manuscripts and a very rich English library and a separate section devoted to children called the children's section. So when we talk of Salarjung Museum, it's just not a museum within four walls. We have vast, wide activities covering every range, every targeted community, every targeted audience. And our popular artifacts, which really draw the visitors, are the British clock, the English clock which we have, where the man comes out and hits the gong according to the hour of the day. And we have a veiled Rebecca, which is so popular that people often think that it is really veiled by a cloth. And then we have a double statue. So these are the popular items which draw the public. So when they come to Hyderabad, it is definitely a point for tourists to a must visit place. And we almost have on an average 10,000 footfall per day.
Exactly. A place like Salarjung Museum will go a long way in generating interest and enthusiasm among the younger and future generations about our past, our culture, our heritage, our languages, and so on and so forth. Do you think it will make them feel proud about our rich and varied culture?
Yes, sir. With generation, it is our responsibility also to take our younger generation, to tell them, to share with them our heritage. Because otherwise, slowly we are just visiting those places as if just to watch those items, to see, just to visit a museum. But truly, by heart, we are losing that connection, because why we are visiting a museum, that we are losing slowly. So as a parent, we need to talk about our culture, our heritage to our children, and we need to bring them to the museum to show them how that lifestyle was that time, that era, how our emperors, they fought. So those articles, seeing, we can connect. We will try to connect them, the younger generation, with that heritage.
Dr. Kedareshwari, just now you mentioned that Salarjung Museum has a children's section, a rich reference library, large collection of rare manuscripts. It is a place of interest and also an institution for education. Do you think more and more children trips and educational visits should be organized so that the future Indians not only get acquainted themselves with the Indianness, but also it may act as a great motivator for children to take interest in our history and past glory?
The Salarjung Museum, in fact, all museums, if you see the definition, first understand the definition of a museum. According to ICOM, the International Council of Museums under UNESCO, a museum is a non-profit permanent institution in the service of society and its development, open to the public, which acquires, conserves, researches, communicates and exhibits the tangible and intangible heritage of humanity and its environment for the purpose of education, study and enjoyment. So the definition shows that the museum itself is an informal center of education. So it's just not Indianness, it shows you the world community. And the Salarjung Museum, the National Museum under the Ministry of Culture, Government of India, the Ministry of Culture from time to time, it keeps giving us mandate. It mandates the museums to have different kinds of activities. So our activities just do not revolve around the artifacts itself. It also revolves around the policy of the Government of India. So building communal harmony, national integration, peace. So for example, the Republic Day, 15th August, Independence Day of our country, the different national festivals, the different national celebrations are also, commemorated, are also celebrated in the museum according to the artifacts we have. Sometimes we help the audience connect with the artifact through these exhibitions. We have exhibitions, we have workshops, we have seminars, we have talks, we have gallery talks, we have lectures, we have hands-on workshops for children so that they feel the heritage of this country. We have summer art camps for young children from the age of 7 to 18, where for 15 days children are exposed to all art forms, both performing and visual. We have programs targeted for definite specific audiences, senior citizens, youth. So when we have any workshop on artifacts, we connect to the universities and colleges. We have a captive audience for 2-3 days. In that process, we are also hand-holding the community of artists, the craftsmen, and at the same time, we are bringing them closer to the student community. We are giving these artist community, craftsmen, marketing operations, showing them how to market their products, because we need to help them also. At the same time, allowing them to teach their artifact or their craft to the students.
So, briefly, what are the measures and steps you think are still needed and required to make Salarjung Museum a favorite destination on the international heritage and tourist map?
We are already on the favorite must-see list. In fact, if you think of Hyderabad, you cannot think of anything else except Salarjung Museum. Mm-hmm. So we get the footfall proves the tourist buses which, roll in, the number of school buses which roll in, the number of people who come in. You can make out that it's already a favorite, international favorite destination. Hyderabad is a destination. It is medical tourism. It is heritage tourism. It is so many forms of tourism along with, and this heritage of Hyderabad is so rich. The Ganga Jamuni culture is so rich, and the Salarjung environment itself, the museum environment itself is extremely rich. You have the Charminar around it. You have the Falaknuma. You have the Chowmahalla. You have the Nizam's Museum. You have the High Court, the beautiful Indo-Islamic architecture, the Osmania Hospital, and you have the River Musi on it. They all have their own stories to tell. So it is the museum and its environment which is very, very attractive for the incoming visitors and for the local visitors.
Do you observe any specialized events like Salarjung Day or perhaps Heritage Week or something like that?
In fact, April, yes. Those are already listed by the Government of India, and it is for us to celebrate them. We have the World Heritage Day coming on 18th, that is on Monday, where this time the Salarjung Museum proposes to hold a special exhibition on toys and dolls of India, representing the different states in different media, including grass. So we have the World Heritage Week in November. We have the International Museum Day on May 18th. We have the World Tourism Day, which we celebrate. So different days we celebrate, and we connect with the communities, with the public, and we also make people who come every day, the everyday visitor, also aware of these celebrations.
Given the fact that Governor himself is the ex officio chairman of the Salarjung Museum, it reflects the importance and significance attached to Salarjung Museum by the government. So, in a way, you get maximum cooperation and satisfaction from the government bodies.
You see, the Salarjung Museum is funded by the Ministry of Culture, Government of India. Yes, we are governed by a board of trustees, and the chairman is His Excellency, the Governor of Andhra Pradesh and Telangana. And we are definitely encouraged by their very kind support.
Coming to the visitors who, should I say, throng Salarjung Museum, how do you classify them? I mean, they must be for education purpose. Some are just tourists who are just interested in seeing another favorite destination. How do you feel that a tourist classification should be based on the generation of interest and enthusiasm among younger generation?
Actually, Salarjung Museum has become popular not only as a place of interest, but as an institution of education also. So here people, whoever visiting, many of them, students, they also come. Main attraction, as Madam already told, Vale, Rebecca and two statues. So they visit those places just to watch them, and few, of course, artists and many researchers, scholars also they visit for, because in museum they have huge collection of the manuscripts. So for the research purpose it helps them. And what I feel that maybe younger generation, they are becoming much more aware about the heritage. I mean that those kids are going to school. So from school side also, we are talking about museums, our value education system also is changing. So what I feel that those kids who are right now in the schools, maybe they will take care of this museum and they are much more aware, they are protective and they will maybe take care of those artifacts.
Dr. Kedareshwari, rare manuscripts on palm leaves, glass, wood, parchments and textiles are stored in various languages such as Persian, Arabic, Sanskrit, Urdu and Turkish. Isn't it amazing that such a wonderful collection is done by one single person or one single family? The subjects of these manuscripts range from medicine and poetry to magic. A good number of Indian miniature paintings in early style of Western India of 14th and 15th century representing Krishna Leela themes are also available in Salarjung Museum. Arabic, Persian manuscripts and Shahnama by Firdausi. Oil and water paintings form an important part. Leelavati manuscript on mathematics.
Actually, if you talk of the visitor profile, you have a different range visiting Salarjung Museum. We have visitors coming in to read. We have visitors coming in to do research. We have visitors because it's a popular place, must-visit place. We have students coming in. We have youth coming in. We have senior citizens who sometimes come regularly to see each gallery per day. We have corporate offices bringing in their guests. We have the very VVIPs visiting Hyderabad and coming in to see the museum. So it's a one-stop destination for many. So if you take the profile and if you analyze the profile, you see the visitor profile is so varied. It has something to offer for everybody. It has got more than 40 galleries. And by the time you finish visiting the 3 blocks and for more than 40 galleries, you are really, aware of what kind of heritage this National Museum possesses.
It's very difficult to cover in a day.
Yeah, it is difficult to cover in a day, yes.
According to your experience and expertise, how much time should it take?
It would take minimum 2 days to really cover the museum.
To understand
the artifacts, yes.
It is imperative on our part to pay tribute to the founding father of this wonderful collection, Nawab Mir Yusuf Ali Khan.
Nawab Mir Yusuf Ali Khan was appointed as a Prime Minister, but very soon in 2 years, he gave up. He resigned and he took to collecting of artifacts. He was a great collector himself. If you see the English library, we not only have books, but we also have a very rich collection of Western classical engravings, excellent photographs, and we have one of the largest, in fact, to be very frank, one of the largest collection of classical engravings in India. The Victoria Memorial does have prints, but that is more modern. And the Indian Museum, of course, it's one of the earliest museums of our country and Asia, 7th largest museum of Asia also. But the Salarjung Museum is unique, and this uniqueness, the whole credit goes to the family. Because the way they have collected from South Asia, Far East, Middle East and Western countries, and they have our own country and in different media. So it really reflects their own attitude also towards commitment and attitude towards social causes and the way they looked at society. That also is reflected through this collection.
Tell me something about the veiled Rebecca.
Okay, the veiled Rebecca is a beautiful marble statue of the biblical character Rebecca. The sculptor Benzoni, when he started his work, we know very little of Benzoni. This was a 19th century work, and 19th century doing veiled works, veiled Rebecca, veiled faces was popular stylistically. And this veiled Rebecca, you find her standing in veil, in her skirts, and the sculptor has made sure that he shows the beautiful lacework of not only the skirt she's wearing, but also the under petticoats. So that kind of dexterity and skill required to really, chisel, level of the skill of the sculptor. But I would also let you know that if you see the sculptures of our great Indian temples, they are equally or even more beautiful.
Definitely.
They not only show the different hairstyles, not only in stone but also in terracotta. Some of the historical excavations which have taken place in our country, which are in the collection of the State Museum, if you go and see the earrings, the hairdos, are also reflected in small pieces. So this sculpting was very good of veiled Rebecca, and we also have a double statue which is done in wooden, but equally good are our Indian sculptures.
Sure. Are we successful in preserving in entirety the artifacts collected by Salarjung family?
You see, I just told you about the definition of museums. One of the main role of a museum is you acquire. After you acquire, you preserve it for posterity. So before you really showcase it and display and communicate to the visitor about its history and background, the first role of a museum is to conserve for posterity. So the Salarjung Museum has an excellent conservation unit which takes care of artifacts. So we have both preventive conservation. Preventive means before any damage occurs. And we also have curative conservation. After something has occurred, the damage or whatever it may be manual, it may be because of the weather conditions. So we have excellent environment protection in all the galleries, and our conservation policies are well manifested in the galleries and the reserve collection.
So in a way, it is in the safe hands.
Very safe hands. Yes, it's monitored by the Government of India also and by the board.
So, and another aspect which I would like Runita to highlight is the importance gained by Hyderabad due to Salarjung. How Salarjung Museum has helped Hyderabad to be on the international tourist map.
Since in Salarjung Museum, we are having so many sculpture, artistic work, manuscripts from whole world. So visitors not only from our country but from abroad also, they come and they try to visit, try to see also their heritage, their cultural thing, whatever. Because I was surprised when I came to know that Salarjung Museum, we have the miniature of the Quran. Only two miniature, that small size Quran is available. One is in Iran and the second one is in the Salarjung Museum. So people come and they try to see this unique thing that Salarjung, whatever he collected from his personal choice, that was unique. So people visit, and it slowly it has become now a famous tourist spot.
Before we conclude, I would like to get a few words from Dr. Kedareshwari for the benefit of listeners who want to visit Salarjung Museum. What are the do's and don'ts for visiting Salarjung Museum?
The Salarjung Museum opens its doors to all our visitors. All are welcome to come and visit and gain from the artifacts, and including our programs. There are no specific do's and don'ts. We have a very visitor-friendly policy, so you can easily take photographs also by paying a small amount. There is a cloakroom for your facility to keep your bag and baggage and go through the galleries, very easily. You have fantastic visitor facilities, and even for nursing mothers we have a facility. For the specially abled children also we have facilities in the museum, and we have the wheelchair facilities for also available ready readily. So it's a very friendly, visitor-friendly museum, and I welcome one and all.
We all can incontestably opine that Salarjung Museum is an integral part of our heritage. It is the repository of the artistic achievements, a national monument. Salarjung Museum has a magnificent global collection of art objects and antiques, not only of Indian origin but mostly from Western countries, Middle East and Far Eastern origins also. A children's section, a rich reference library, large collection of rare manuscripts, place of interest, and also an institution for education. A true treasure trove of our heritage. Thank you.
Thank you.
In the national program of talks tonight, you were listening to a discussion entitled The Salarjung Museum, the treasure trove of our heritage. The participants were Dr. J. Kedareshwari, Curator, Salarjung Museum, Hyderabad, Srimati Arunita Rakshit, Senior Journalist, and Shri S. M. Hussaini, AIR Hyderabad, who initiated and moderated the discussion. Produced by Shri S. M. Hussaini, this program was a contribution of our Hyderabad station in our national program of talks and came to you from the Delhi station of All India Radio.